partner country initiative, Partnerland-Initiative. Every 3 years, the Federal Union of Information of Germany's library associations, BID, chooses a country to focus on for the next 3 years. And so currently, we're very happy that we have Latvia as our partner country. The aim of this initiative is to get to know each other better, to establish long-term relations, to visit each other during study trips, to participate in conferences together, and learn more about the librarianship in both of our countries. There are different ways to get involved or learn more. For the German colleagues, you could go to the website of BII International, and you will find a section that's called Partnerland. There's a mailing list that you can subscribe to. You would find the link also on that website, or you can join our working group if you want to. We meet once a month. Digitally every third Friday, I believe, at 10 o'clock. And if you want to join or just listen in for one time, send me an email at international@bibliotheksverband.de. And for our Latvian colleagues, there's also a website that you can go to, or if you want to join their working group, you send an email to Victoria Piszikova, who's also here in our online seminar today. I'm not sure if I mentioned it. My name is Juliana Pranke. I'm with the German Library Association. I have one more thing I want to mention, because the German Library Conference is coming up. We will have 5 colleagues from Latvia join us in Berlin. And if you're also there in Berlin, save the date. We will have a Freiraum on Thursday, May 21st at 10 a.m. We will do this Freiraum together, so it will be in English. And we will do a session that's called Doing a Lot with Almost Nothing. So we will present examples of library ideas from both our countries where, without a lot of resources, we still manage to do fun things. Today's topic, and we decided, or many of the people who came to the first seminar decided on this by vote, and the majority of people said we want to hear something about innovative services and the use of technology. So this is today's focus. And we will have inputs starting with Christina Martens. She is the director of the City Library of Gera, which is in the federal state of Thüringen, in the middle of Germany. It's also called the Green Heart of Germany. And Gera is a city of approximately 95,000 people. And she will present the things that they do. They received a prize last year. Maybe Christina Martens, you will talk about this. And then we have a second input also from Germany by a former colleague of mine, Jacob Svaneeng. He is part of, or one of the project leaders of the so-called Digital Zebra, the Digital Zebra project. And what the zebra does in the library, he will tell you in his input. And after that, we will have the Latvian input by Mārtiņš Lagzdons. And he's from a one-person library in Kursīši, and will present the things he does on innovative services and technology. And after that, those of you who've been here for the first seminar will know it. We will have time to ask questions and to really get into talking and exchanging views, ideas, learnings. And with this, I will stop. and give the floor to Christina Martens.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Pranke, for the nice introduction. I would like to share my screen and start my my small time slot. I hope everybody of you can see the presentation. The topic is the innovative service and the use of technology in libraries. I'm sure that I'm not so completely new to all of you, but I try to give a short overview of what we are doing here in Gera. And yeah, I'd like to share my ideas with you. Libraries have changed significantly in the recent years. This is not a secret, and they have no longer just be places for books, but they are modern spaces for learning and for interaction. In this presentation, I would like to show you some innovative services and how technology is used in our libraries. In the past, the main function of libraries was just to borrow books, maybe listening to music, have a platform for learning, and a place for maybe printing and making copies. But today, libraries are much more. They serve so many more purposes, and they are a place for learning, social interaction, digital access. They are support for people without digital access at home. And in our library, they are a safe area and sometimes also a retreat we try to be. Mrs. Pranke told that we won a prize last year. I have started to work here in this library last year in January, and I have written an intergenerational concept because I think that we need to include more generations in the library, and this is necessary that different generations are inside this area. I would like to start with you first. Maybe some of you already know it. We are working very well with reading newspapers and magazines online. Maybe some of you already know the Press Reader. It is like a cooperation that we have with a lot of other libraries where people are able to read newspapers and magazines via their devices. And in the moment, we have more than 7,000 newspapers and magazines that can be read with one app. Another aspect is also the OnLayer. OnLayer is like a partner to the Press Reader, but with the OnLayer, you can read books. And the nice thing is you can also listen to audiobooks. So for those of you who are not so keen on reading a lot of pages in a short time and have a long journey to work or to friends, they have the chance to listen to audiobooks here for free, just with their fee for the library per year. And for those people who have some difficulties in install this app or to need some digital consultation, they can come every Tuesday in our library in the afternoon. We have a fixed time slot, especially for people who like to buy a tablet or an ebook reader and who have never installed this app before. We like to help them and just give them some hints how they can use these apps with their own devices. What is also very nice and sometimes like a little playground is we call it Make 3D. We have our printing dimensions with the D3 printer. Up from the age of 10 years, children have the chance, and also youngsters, to come here with their own ideas. And we have a colleague that helps them to create their little figures or symbols. And they create together the data, and then they have the chance to print this here in the library. And when they are good in the end, they can take it home in the evening or maybe one day later if it takes longer. And there we have a special room. This takes place every third Tuesday in a month. And the meeting lasts 2 hours, and maybe the most time afterwards, one day afterwards, the children can pick up the result one day later. I think most of you know the Lego kits, the building sets. Yes, this is very famous in our libraries here in the region, that we are calling it becoming a Legoan. That means becoming familiar with the Lego set, and especially the younger children have the chance here to come every second Saturday, and they can build their own roboter or their own little figure that is moving automatically. What is important for us is that the children do not come alone, that they come with their parents or with their grandparents or with their friends. So the idea is that they build something together, that they have an aim, and that they say, okay, we are sitting now here, maybe 2 hours or 3 hours, and then we have a result, and yeah, then we can play with this little robot for a time. And afterwards, they put all the pieces back in the set, and it can be used again by other children. What is very interesting and very famous for us is our Digital Tuesday. Our Digital Tuesday, our Digital Tuesday is every third Tuesday each month, and it is especially for elderly people, although we do not worry if also some younger people to join, but normally most of the seniors come to this event. And in the Digital Tuesday, we have typical topics with topics like what happens with my data after death, or what can I do as a right text declaration, or what can I do with electronic patient record. This is something that is really, really making people nervous in the last time, and people do not know when people do not know what happens with their data afterwards, and also questions about what has happened with e-prescription, with the health insurance. These are all questions that we try to answer together with partners for this Digital Tuesday. We also had topics like WhatsApp or artificial intelligence, and maybe also simple things like how to create a photo book. This is not a small event. This is something where about 80 to 90 people are sitting here on these Tuesdays, and they are all waiting with their own device and trying to take part in this little seminar with us together. And then we have the Library of Things. I don't know if one of you already know this. The main topic that we have in mind about this is borrowing instead of buying. And these are things, as you can see it here in the picture, that you maybe just need once a year or once a life, for example, an energy consumption meter, or that are just too expensive to buy. For example, when you build a house and you need a thermal imaging camera, this is something that people think is very, very expensive, and then they come here and just borrow it for one time. And sometimes we also have things that just take too much space in small apartments. For example, we have a popcorn machine or soccer goals. And when the youngsters want to have a party, they can come here and just borrow this this thing. Yeah, there are only things that you just need seasonally or that you would like to try before you buy it. And these are typical items that you can borrow here in the Library of Things. In the moment, we have 116 different objects right now, and the minimum age for borrowing is 18 years. And last but not least, we have different media education offers, and this is something where we are very proud. We have one pedagogical staff here in our library who is responsible for the media education for children and youngsters. And so we have different topics that we can offer. For example, cyber mobbing or fake news, or we give theoretical inputs and add practical exercises with the youngsters afterwards, so that we have one-day workshops together when they come with their teachers, for example, in the project week in school. Yeah, this was very fast insight and just a little overview for you. For us, it is important that the library is a place for all generations, and that we want to include the wide range of offerings with all the generations, and we want to give support with learning. We want to, of course, not forget that we have books and readings, but we want to improve the interactive activities. It is very important for us that we see ourselves as a place of well-being, and, as we say in German, as a third place, and we see ourselves as a home for both the soul and the mind. Yeah, so I hope time is not running up so fast, but this was the little overview.
Thank you very much, Christina Martens. I would say we go straight from the leguan or iguana to the zebra and, stick in the animal world. You can ask questions also in the chat if you want to, in English or German or Latvian. But we will address all questions or take all questions at the end of all three inputs. So with this, I hand over to Jacob. Please, Jacob. Your microphone is still muted.
Okay, now I have the microphone. Now I'm sharing the screen. And here we go. Do you see it?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. And then I'm just gonna do it like this. Okay. So I'm just gonna start the timer because I'm not very good at sticking with. Okay. So no, that doesn't work. Wait a second. I need to change it here. Why doesn't it? Oh yeah. Okay. Here we go. So yeah, I'm the project leader of the project Digital Zebra in Berlin. And just real quick to the regarding the background for this project. So in Germany, of course, there is a digital divide as well. And here it's in German, but you see it quite clearly that the older that you are, the less higher education you have, the lower your general income, the more likely you are to be digitally excluded or offline. And you also see a clear divide between West Germany, that's the bottom one, and East Germany. So the East German, former East German states still are twice as still have twice as many offliners as onliners. But I would also sort of kind of criticize this graph because it's kind of like it's quite binary, and a lot of like research still being done in Germany is still sort of dividing people into sort of the main problem of having people who are offline and online. So you have the digital natives who know everything, and the people who are not on the internet at all. And of course, that is, an aspect of it. But also for a lot of people, even if they are statistically online, even if they made an email when they were 70, 15 years ago, if they come into the library now again and they have to make a new email, they might be onliners, but now they have to prove that they are not a robot. They have to play a little puzzle. They need a smartphone for a two-stage verification. And they're 15 years older, now they're 85. And just to assume that because they're now onliners, they won't have challenges is a bit too simplistic. So actually what we're dealing with is not only also elderly people, it's a huge range of groups that can be somehow digitally excluded, and it's intersectional and it's a lot more complex that one might expect. But I'll get into that more in detail. So the project basically is it's called Digital Zebra. Also, I'll get into why it's called Digital Zebra. But it's pretty much the IT support for the population in Berlin. It's a public IT support. And we are around 40 digital guides in 26 libraries around Berlin who offer a service without, you don't have to schedule an appointment. You can just go into the library during our opening hours. Normally that's between 15 to 20 hours a week for each library. And then you can just show up with a digital problem. And those problems can be that I want to book a doctor's appointment online, or I want to, fill out a form. But it can also be that I'm challenged by more complex stuff, like I want to change my system from Windows to Linux on my PC, and I have questions about that, or I got a weird email and I'm unsure whether I should click on that link or not. Is that a real package? So those things, also come up, and it's even like cases like love scamming and stuff like that, like complex emotional issues can turn up in our consultations. And we do around 20 to 30,000 individual consultations a year. So we reach quite a lot of people Berlin-wide. And of course, you have to imagine that, like I said, if it's about something like love scamming, it can be quite intense. It's not just like people come in for 5 minutes and then they go again. So what do? We haven't really framed it as a question of educational program. It's not really the case that you come in and then you get educated. What is the internet and everything? It's really supposed to be it's supposed to have like a very concrete value for you. So you walk into the library, you have a certain problem, like you need access to a digital service, state services or public services, or you just want to find like a specific address in the internet and you don't know how to research it, or an email. You want to write your local politicians and complain about something, and you just want to find that email. That could also be a part of it. Then you come in, you get the help, and then you go out and you got that problem solved. And that sort of as digital problem solvers is a way of framing it that makes it less about sort of education on the surface of it, but more about social justice, essentially, like people who don't have the same access because they need to digital services or to the digital space will get it through us. And of course, we also work as kind of onboarders. So when people don't have digital IDs to use state services, but also if they want to explore maybe non-commercial alternatives to big tech, then we can sort of help people, getting an understanding of the options that are out there, and how they might get more digital in the way that they prefer. And we also have quite a lot of people who are lonely, and loneliness is a huge problem in Germany, I think in many parts of the industrialized world. And so sometimes people have found out that, of course, every day you can have a new problem with your phone or with your laptop, of course. And if you're a person that really needs a good conversation, they have that stereotype of people who call the fire department just to have somebody come and visit them and have a good conversation. But now you can go in the library and you can have a new question about your phone every day, and that's quite nice. But we don't want to turn those people away, so we started setting up digital cafes as well as a sort of as an add-on. And we have coffee and cake, and when the people have solved their problem, and then they start telling about how in their childhood they were a cowboy in Colombia, and like interesting stuff, but not stuff that we can really handle as part of the consultation, we will then say, that's super interesting. Why don't you come to the digital cafe next week? There will be coffee and cake. And what ends up happening is often that they just other people will come who are also lonely, and they will start talking to each other, and they don't really need the digital pilot at the end. So that's quite nice. But it's also just a question of just making it a little bit more efficient, also in terms of getting the through the line of people waiting. So I had very bad lighting for the pictures of the furniture that we have downstairs, so I just used the models here, the computer generated models. But we don't have those chairs. They're actually very uncomfortable for people who are elderly or have a handicap. But but this is kind of the mobile furniture that we developed for our consultations. And the reason is that we have a ton of different libraries, and they're very, very different in size and in layout. So we needed something that is completely mobile, that we can open, that sort of brands the space and makes it more accessible, and shows that there's something going on here, that you can come as a sort of a fixed point in the library where you can get the help. But also we can just put it's on wheels. We can just clap it together and put it up against the wall if we need to do something else with the space in the meantime. And so a big part of what we do is also to go out. So we're an inclusion project. So a big part of it is not just to sit down and expect people to know what they can do online digitally in advance, but we go out to different local events, to the local bakery, to the local community center. We look for our target groups everywhere that we can find them, and we spend a lot of time just explaining to people what are the dangers digitally right now, but also what are all the opportunities, and how to maybe use that to connect with other people. So a lot of part is actually quite analog. It's about going out there with a poster and a card and telling people that they could actually get to their doctor much quicker if they just came and talked to us. And the idea is that we kind of become the human face of a socially just digitalization locally. And when people think about a digital problem, they don't think so much about a phone or a software problem. They just think right away of Klaus or Lena, and they go like, oh, I'll go in the library and get the help I need. So the people that we sort of are helping mainly in Berlin are people who are functionally illiterate. We have around 340,000 German speakers in Berlin who that can write and read basic sentences, but as soon as it becomes like we have something in German, it's like famous Beamtendeutsch, like bureaucratic German, which is quite difficult to understand. It's like almost sometimes a language of its own, and it can be quite difficult to read. I don't really understand my own text papers sometimes, and that. But the digitalization is not just that they have a digital barriers that they are challenged by, but also that digitalization leaves them alone with this kind of bureaucratic German. Before then, they would go and have an interaction with a person that could try to explain it in different words. So that's quite an important group. Then we have more than 900,000 people who have a refugee background or a migrant background. Also, language is a big barrier, but also just doing like how to research, how to find the right pages, how to understand, how to pick and use the right services online. Just navigating that field online without help from a human person can be difficult. And then we have people with disabilities, so around 400,000 individuals in Berlin, people who are blind, but also who are just visually impaired, people who have a tremor, like that, like their hands shake, and we have this tendency now that everything is becoming touch screens, and that's really difficult for people who are shaking, because you can't really service a touch screen if you don't hold your fingers completely still. And then we have around 120,000 people who are poor, and also don't have access to the digital gadgets and the technical to the computer basically at home or a printer, and can't really use the services for that reason. So I don't have that much time yet left, but this is just how you could imagine, like 22 hours is for a full-time position would be doing the actual consultations, and then you have some times for networking and promotion, going out there each week, connecting with local actors, and we have our little pilots conference where we meet up and we talk about very difficult issues and try to solve them. In those cases, we actually give the people who come to us a new we schedule a time with them. They can come back next week, and then we try as a big team. We are, like I said, 40 people to solve the issues. Our service design, we try to get training directly by the people who are confronted with digital barriers. So we had migrants and refugees actually teaching us how it is, how their challenges has been as a refugee navigating the public services in Germany, but also blind people training us in how to be blind online and how to use social media, what kind of how to use voice activation and AI to navigate physical spaces and stuff like that. And the way that we've been trained, this is just a small group of our partners, is that we actually, because we started out quite big, which is normally not really a smart thing to do if you do a project. You would start with like 2 or 3 pilot libraries. You would try it out, and then you would grow organically. But we started quite big, and we said like, oh, we will start in 11 libraries or 17 libraries. But it's actually also an advantage because we were quite a big player that could reach a lot of people from the beginning. We could actually make a really good offer. So we went to the Berlin police and we said, you have all these people waiting at the police station for hours just to report a stolen bike. Actually, they could do it over the website, but they don't know how to do it. So just send them across the street into the library, and they can report their stolen bike with the digital pilot. Or we go to the Doctors Association, and we say, you have all these people coming into your consultation to just ask questions about like an app or how to reorder medicine, or how to the EPA, how it works, like the electronic records for patients. Why don't you save the time and focus on the human beings and the medical part of it, and you send all these people across the street, and we will have a library and somebody who can explain it right there. And so we got trained by over 30 different partners, and the digital pilots that have been with us for the longest time now have over 80 workshops given or like further education given by our partners. And so they're very well trained, and we never paid a single cent for it, because they all saw the strategic interest in training us to take over part of their work and make it easier for them. And like I said, also some of the most important groups are the people who we are actually addressing directly. So who are our users? It's still mainly elderly people. 54% of our users are older than 65 years old. But over time, it's getting younger and younger and younger. So it started out with older people, but we see that more and more younger people, more and more people who are still working at a working age are coming to look for a job, to look for an apartment, to use social services. That's quite an interesting development. And also the kids that need digital support for school, for using a new tablet, setting up stuff like that is also growing. We also had quite a large part of our users who were female at the beginning. That is also slightly changing. So we're getting more men, and they're getting also younger. But still, I think, I don't want to mansplain it, but I think one of the reasons why we have so many women coming is because men have been socialized not to admit that they can't really deal with technical stuff. So women are better at just going and getting help. We men don't go to the doctor as well when we need to. So I think that's kind of like the reason behind it. But we see men getting braver as well. Like I said, it was mainly about access. And just getting in there and getting a concrete problem solved. But we also have access, for instance, to a lot of women, for instance, with a refugee background. And we thought maybe we can combine that with educational programming. So we started different cooperation initiatives. One is with a feminist computer center in Berlin that for 40 years have been training women in digital skills. And they now come to each library. And when we have people there, especially women with a migrant background or refugee background, we ask them if they want to do a course as well. And then the cool thing is that the digital pilot will then be in the course. So let's say they go for like a couple of weeks, and they do like an education on how to find work and important digital skills for working in Germany. But then after the course is finished, they got to know the pilot as part of that course, and then each day they can just come back into the library and get help looking for work or actually doing the part that they were trained to do. And the special thing is about this is also that we do the courses directly in Arabic and Farsi and Ukrainian and so on. So we address this, the only place in Berlin where you can actually get these courses in those languages. Also, we have another cooperation initiative that is now going on for quite some time, where we have this part. This is we have an online platform where people can look for everything that is offered to senior citizens across all of Berlin. That's not something that senior citizens actually use very much because it's online and they don't really like an online platform so much. But as a working tool for us, it's very helpful because we can always go on the card and tell them, oh, this is where you could do gymnastics, this is where you can go. So in combination with our project, it becomes very meaningful. On the other hand, we have now set up a hotline because we realized in the beginning that people started calling the library and saying, I'm not really mobile anymore, I need help, but I can't come to the library. Could you just tell me real quick, what is the phone number for this? Or could you look this up for me or do this? And we can't really do like online, consultations as well. That would just be too much. But we found this partner that could set it up for us. They have like other hotlines for people, elderly people who are lonely. And now they set up a digital hotline, like an info phone, where you can call and ask questions, get information from the digital space. And the really funny thing is now that it started working in the other way. So we don't really have like an overview of all the libraries except online, of the 26 libraries. But now they have just a phone number, so they can just call and they will ask, where's my next library? Where can I go to get help? And they will say, oh, just across the street from you is Lena. I will describe the way for you. And then they can find the library without ever having to go online themselves. But the funny thing is also that we had some people, for instance, coming in like recently, and the elderly lady, for instance, and she had this problem that she had bought a new tablet, but she couldn't get internet on it. And then we started asking questions, and it turned out that actually she had just bought an internet router and she put it on her kitchen table and she imagined that it would just be like emanating internet. She didn't plug it in. So that was the main problem. But of course, we couldn't go as librarians into her apartment and plug it in. But what we then did was we called the info phone and we asked them to post an advert on a local community website that there is a zebra advert that this woman needs help. And then the neighbors would call the phone hotline and offer to come and help. And then people the neighbors came to the apartment and installed the router for her, so now she has internet. So we recognized we could use that in the other way. So now we're using that phone thing also as a coordination hub for making these online adverts to organize neighbors to help people in their houses. Just real quick, because I'm already past time, I'm sorry. There is also a big question of course, of sustainability and poverty. For instance, we have big events like Windows 10 ending and Windows 11. And a lot of our users have very old devices that have Windows 10, and they're not really capable of going on with Windows 11. So they would need to buy a new device, new licenses that costs money, and they're also just unsure about it. So our solution, and also it's an ecological disaster because Microsoft has decided not to renew the licenses, there is estimates that 240 million devices worldwide have become trash because of this. So what we're trying to do instead is that we've made these little boot sticks with Linux with a nice little zebra on them, and then you can when people come in with their own device and they say, oh, I get these weird messages that my data is not safe, I need to change to Windows 11. We plug it in and we show a version of Linux, which is an open source free software alternative, and it's a version that looks exactly like Windows 10. So they don't really see the difference. And then they're a little bit unsure, so they come back, and they maybe come back 3 times a week, and they plug in it's like, oh, no, it's too dangerous, and then they come back. But at some point they're ready, and then we can change it to Linux instead. They can keep their laptop and the data, and they can work with the system. And we actually saved also the computer from becoming trash for a couple of more years. So that's quite appreciated. And we're now working with also collecting old laptops and refurbishing them in workshops for people with disabilities. So we can give them back to poor people who don't have laptops, and they would also be set up with Linux and other things. Okay, so just at the end, it's very, very positive. We get a lot of chocolate and a lot of appreciation from people, but there are also some sort of kind of moments that I sometimes write down when I'm during service, and I will just note them down because I think it's interesting what people say. And I had this young man. The first thing he said was like, "I'm not stupid," which is like, "No, I know you're not stupid. Just it's fine." He had an elderly lady who said, "I'm just an old woman and I can't learn things anymore." That's also something that we have a lot. I had a young woman with Down syndrome where she told me that the doctor had said to her, "Come on, even an 80-year-old woman, a granny can do that," which really hurt her deeply. Or you have an insecure elderly man who says like, "Oh, you're here to serve me, so fix my phone," because he can't really deal with the fact that he can't do it himself. I didn't translate all of them. I'm sorry. But of course, you have also this kind of like you really realize that this kind of digital divide is a societal divide, and that it means a lot to people to be taking it seriously and getting that kind of support and having that kind of real person sitting down and taking time with you. And I think that also, I hope that it has some kind of political effect as well, in sort of reducing the political and societal divide that we are experiencing as well.
Jacob, can I stop you here?
Yeah.
And we have Mārtiņš do his presentation, and we keep the cliffhanger why it's called zebra for after.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a question, or I will ask a question.
Okay, sure. Sorry for taking so long, but it's a bit.
It's such a nice project, and once again, you're the fastest speaking man on the planet I know, so thank you. But yeah, I want to give you, Mārtiņš, also a chance to give his presentation maybe first, and then we get back to why the zebra is called zebra. Okay, Mārtiņš, your turn.
Okay, I am presentation. Here we go. Oh, no. Okay. Good afternoon, Latvian and German colleagues from both large and small libraries. My name is Mārtiņš Lagzdons, and today I have the honor of telling you about myself, my work, and activities of the Kursīši Library for the benefit of local residents. There are many talented librarians and successful libraries in Latvia that do wonderful work for their communities, combining both traditional and digital services. In this presentation and my talk, you will have the opportunity to get to know me as librarian and as a person, learn about the place where I live and work, explore the work of Kursīši Library, and also find out about the activities of state and municipal unified customer service centers using Kursīši Library as an example. I have working in the library sector for 21 years, and Kursīši Library is my only main workplace. I have obtained a professional master's degree in information and library science, and every year I continue to improve my knowledge through various courses and seminars. Since 2017, I have also been a member of the Librarian Qualification Examination Commission at the Latvian National Library. This work takes place about 3 times a year. I also lead the amateur theater of Kursīši Parish as its director, and I am deputy of the Saldus Municipal Council. I am active in local community NGOs, the Kursīši Development Association, and others. I enjoy theater, traveling, organizing community activities, and researching local history. For more than 15 years, I have taken on the role of Santa Claus at Christmas, and many say I am the best Santa Claus in Saldus municipality.
Mārtiņš, can you please switch on the presenter mode so we can see the slides?
Don't see?
We see them very small in the corner.
Okay.
Yes, a bit better now, but
kā tad man tagad darīt?
Uzliec, jā, tieši to tiksīties. Jā, tūlīt būs.
Ir?
Vajadzētu būt, ka pārslēgsies.
Ir? Rādās?
Jā. Nē.
Ko tad es
Uzliec
nepareizi?
vēlreizīti to.
Ok, stop share.
Mums tā kā viss rādījās. We saw
Kas tev
everything, I think.
nerādījās, Elīna?
Nē, tas darba variants.
Vienkārši mēs slaidus redzējām maziņus tikai sānā.
Nu labi, es palaižu tagad.
Lai ir prezentētājs kāds. Es
Okay.
negribētu tevi sākumā pārtraukt, piedod.
Tā. Stress dara savu. Ok, nu labi, tagad. Nē, man rādās manā datorā. Vācu.
Šis ir tas, kas mums kolēģi ir jāmācās. Ļoti, ļoti.
Nu tagad rāda, tagad viņš rāda šo. Es palaižu viņu. Un tagad.
Nu, nav tas vecais variants F5.
Vai arī slaidi rāda un augšā.
Pirms tam taču mēs visus parādījām.
Jā, turpat slaidi rāda, pa labi
Slaidi
divi
rāda.
un no sākuma.
Šādi tagad ir? Nē, nav.
Tad ir cits, es domāju atstājam un liekam tālāk, ne? Tagad laika nav.
Ir? Elīna, ir?
Nav, bet tad paslēdz vienkārši tos slaidus līdzi, kad tu runā, lai mēs redzam šajā darba skatā kaut vai vienkārši uz
Nē,
priekšu.
pagaidi, nu,
Būs labi.
stop, nu pagaidi, es tagad tieši share uzspiežu.
Man liekas, tev vispirms jāuzliek slaidi rāda no sākuma, un tad ir Zoomā jāizvēlās ekrāns.
Bet man jau tad ir pa virsu, man Zooms nav šobrīd pa virsu, man ir, es uzlieku slaidrādu un tad viņš rāda to. Iedodiet, kolēģi.
Temats ir atbilstošs situācijai.
Nu,
We need some help from Digital Zebra.
The funny thing is, it worked when we tested it before,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Your slides
Nu,
came
tagad
right
rāda
on.
vai nē? Ok, ok, I understand. Yes,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I
Perfect.
think is okay.
Yes.
Better. Thank you.
Yes, this presentation, and this next slide. Yes. Okay. Kursīši-Bibliotheks is located in the Saldus region, 120 kilometers from Riga. The Saldus region has 2 towns, Saldus and Brocēni, and 19 parishes. Kursīši-Bibliotheks is located 21 kilometers from Saldus and has 686 inhabitants. In Kursīši-Bibliotheks, there is 1 small kindergarten group, a cultural center, a medical point, a pharmacy, 3 small grocery and clothing shops, small family farms, agricultural production, peat and wood processing companies. Some residents work locally while others go to Saldus. There has been no school in Kursīši-Bibliotheks since 2019, so children study in Saldus and Ezere. About Kursīši Library. In Saldus region, there are 2 larger town libraries and 19 small parish libraries. Each parish library has 1 librarian. Kursīši Library is one of the best parish libraries in the region based on various indicators. The library is funded by Saldus municipality. Additional funding for activities and infrastructure improvements is obtained through NGO-supported projects. The library provides both traditional and digital services, including access to computer, the internet, various resources, and its collection. Various activities are organized, events, competitions, exhibitions. We also participate in national programs such as reading promotion programs and Digital Week. We also research local history, collect materials, and ensure their accessibility. We provide training and consultation on library-related topics, digital and traditional resources, and e-services. We cooperate with local institutions, kindergarten, cultural organizers, other libraries, and memory institutions. Here you can see the statistics of Kursīši Library for 2025. In 2025, the library had 332 registered users, both adults and children. Users also include residents from nearby parishes and Saldus. The total number of visits was 16,333. A total of 12,780 items were issued: books, magazines, games, DVDs, sheet music, and others. At the beginning of the year, the collection contained 10,748 items. The library is open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 4 hours on Saturdays. Here you can see a small photo overview of the library premises and activities. In 2025, I organized 50 events and activities, both in person and online, shared experience and hosted colleagues 4 times, and offered 13 exhibitions to visitors. In the next 9 slides, I will present regular traditional activities that have been organized for several years, some more often, some less frequently. Event series Portrait Close-Up. Since 2011, I have organized meetings with Latvian writers for children and adults at the library, and previously also at the school. The event is supported financially by municipality and the State Culture Capital Foundation. Cycle of event for children stories about. Since 2011, all kindergarten events have been organized under this title, adding a theme such as fairy tales, bears, birds, and others. Activities include watching films, reading books, playing games, creating crafts, and spending time in the library. Reading promotion program, Children, Youth, and Parent Jury, a national program organized by the Latvian National Library. It is a summer reading initiative where participants read a set number of books, evaluate them, and complete a questionnaire. Since 2021, when we have COVID restrictions, I have organized online knowledge competitions. I use Google Forms. Each round lasts 1 month, and participants can submit answers during that time. The competition runs throughout the year, and winners are awarded at the end. Crossword solving championships. Since 2015, I have organized crossword competition for enthusiasts. Puzzles include classic, circular, and other form newspapers and different materials. 2 formats, time per puzzle or total time for several puzzles. This competition runs also throughout the year, and winners are awarded at the end. Literary Fortschritt, organized since 2023, is in cooperation with event organizer and NGOs. The event is related to literature and literary tasks. Visitors sit at table, enjoy snacks and musical performance, learn about literary menu, and take part in creating on themselves. Puzzle Championships, since 2017, held annually in summer for all age groups. Participants solve puzzles against the clock, and the fastest are awarded. The aim is to promote meaningful leisure time and use of library puzzles. Exhibition and event series collection stories. Since 2015, exhibitions of residents' collections, pens, owls, rabbits, miniature bottles, and others, currently organized less frequently. Exhibitions in the library. I organized exhibitions of painting, photos, crafts, and flowers in cooperation with residents as well as educational and thematic exhibitions. I must admit there are activities that I no longer organize, such as travel stories, reading club activities, and others. The reasons why they don't happen are various. There is no demand, no one participates with stories, lack of interest, and lack of ideas. I like to organize activities according to my own desire and need, but not if it has to be done mandatory or forced. Working in a single staff library has several advantages and disadvantages. These are my observations and conclusions. Colleagues in Latvia and Germany may have different ones. One advantage is the ability to carry out all library processes and tasks, process books, organize events, write projects, and perform other activities. You can be a jack of all trades, but this can also be disadvantage. It depends on each person's personality. You can plan your own tasks, their order, and timing. For the most part, no one depends on you. There is relative independence in your work. Your work is connected both with clients and with resources, as well as their creation and management. There is less internal competition because you do not have to compete with anyone with your library. You are your own boss and your own employee. As disadvantage of working in single staff library, I can mention the library's availability to users. If you are active and participate in various activities, seminars, studying, or if you are sick or on vacation, the library is closed. Doing everything alone can also lead to overwork, and often there is no colleague to brainstorm with, be creative with, or ask for help in organizing activities. There is great responsibility because you can shift the blame for unfinished or incorrectly done work onto a colleague. It is sole, undivided responsibility. One solution to preserve Latvia's library network is the delegation of additional functions to libraries. One such solution is the establishment of unified state and municipal customer service centers in libraries. In cooperation with municipalities, the state began developing this network of centers in 2015, when the first centers were created in smaller municipal territories. In following years, the development of centers continued, and by the end of 2025, there were already 315 such centers in Latvia. The map shown of the slide illustrates the coverage of these centers across the country. These centers are serving application points in municipalities where residents can apply for the most requested state and municipal services in one place. Since librarians had already been trained in the use of various e-resources, provided consultations, and were actively involved in media literacy, public training, and consultations, the state and municipalities saw an opportunity to place these centers in libraries. At the present, 128 such centers have been established in Latvian libraries. In Saldus municipality, 8 new centers were created in libraries in 2025 and 2026, while 2 have already existed for some time in municipal buildings in Saldus and Brocēni towns, not connected to libraries. Computer equipment and furniture were purchased to create new customer workstations and improve librarians' workplaces. And accessibility improvements to the premises were also carried out. The centers provide the following services: free internet access, a computer workstation for clients, and the possibility to copy, print, and scan small amount of documents. Clients are provided with information about the most requested public administration services, as well as opportunity to have remote individual video consultation with state institutions. The librarian assists with the use of the two e-tools, works with the Public Administration Service Portal, or with the client authorization submit service application on behalf of the client. Clients are trained to use computers, the internet, and the Public Administration Service Portal. Municipal services of Saldus municipality are also available at the centers. Residents can submit application and documents addressed to municipality and receive official response and documents in person. The librarian provides information about the work of the municipality. Residents can make cashless payments using a payment card for municipal services, such as paying property tax, land rent, or municipal invoices. The center and library also provide and support voting for participatory budget projects and elections of residents of advisory councils. In this slide, you can see statistics on the activities of Kursīši Library, SLGUCSC, and some examples of activities carried out while implementing the library's new function. In 2024, we provide only municipal services, but from autumn 2025, when SLGUCSC was officially opened, we also began providing new services. To perform the new duties related to Unified State and Municipal Customer Service Center more successfully, librarians regularly attend seminars and training on updates on updates and changes in the availability and provision of e-services. Recordings of the training sessions and presentations are available digitally in knowledge database. Consultations and technological support are available both from the State Support Center and municipal IT specialists. There is also an opportunity to call a more experienced colleague within the municipality. I would like to add that every client who wants to receive state or municipal services and e-services is unique, as no situation is ever exactly the same. There are always nuances, and I also learn together with the client during the service process. Some services are requested frequently, while others you only hear about in seminars, but no one has requested them yet. Before I finish my presentation, I would like to share a few insights that I have guided during my professional career. You must love the work you do. This can be felt when providing services, when entering the library, and when communicating with clients. Build connections and cooperate with local institutions, colleagues, and library users. Only together can great things be achieved. Talk about yourself and your library. Share all good work you do in personal conversations and on social media. Be visible and heard. Be creative and open to new ideas. Librarians in Latvia, and I believe around the world, are creative and capable of doing wonderful things. A sense of competition and the desire to be the best is strong motivation. Sufficient financial, human, and material resources help to do the job better and provide higher quality and more diverse services. May these two thoughts of mine about small libraries and librarians in Latvia inspire you in your future work. Librarians and small libraries are specialists with a wide range of skills, extensive knowledge, and the ability to work creatively and flexibly for the benefit of clients and the community. Libraries integrate traditional and digital services, resources, and activities. They synergy and balance form the foundation for the survival of small libraries. Thank you for your attention and patience. Follow Kursīši Library on social media and online. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mārtiņš, for your very impressive presentation. Such a beautiful library, and the things you do, I don't understand how you do them all. It seemed a lot already before this project about the digital service came up. Okay, so we're now at the end of our inputs. So now would be the time to ask questions, but I guess we still need to solve the puzzle. It's also nicely interconnected, of why the zebra is called zebra. So Jacob, if you want to just share this as a last thing, and then we go into the question section.
Okay, sure. Well, the project.
You can share the slide as well if you want to.
Yeah, okay. Cool. I'll just do it like this real quick. Can you see it? Do you see it?
Not yet, but
oh
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a bit odd, maybe calling it a zebra, a digital zebra, but it was actually called Bürgerterminal, like at the very beginning of this project. And it has terminal in it, which maybe sounds a bit like an illness, and it has Bürger, which is it references to a person in Germany with certain political and privileges in a sense, it was very important for us because we have this very, very diverse group of people, and we realized in the very beginning that the amount of shame that some people feel, which is quite surprising to me, but like really some people really shaking when they were asking their first question, or admitting that they were not literally like as digital as they thought they should be, was quite remarkable. So we were looking for something that didn't really sound like anything German official, something that was friendly, something that took your fear away, something that sounded like a place far removed from any state functions, basically. It was supposed to be visual, so people who can't read and write would still find it as a logo or as a visual symbol. Then quite to my surprise, we had those criteria. A designer came up with a picture of a zebra. And that wasn't really what I was thinking of, but I went around and I asked people what kind of names that they liked. And we had like, I don't know, Dicky Fit and, like all these kind of different names. And it turned out that especially the elderly people that I was asking, they all thought like, oh, the zebra, that sounds very nice. That's the place I wanted to go to. And we also had the experience that there had been like other German institutions had tried to set up similar projects, and they called it the digital self-help center or whatever, and people didn't really go there. So it was all about like building trust and building relationships and to take away that fear. And it turns out that it's been really a really effective brand. And it's something that no matter whether you're a child or an elderly person or people with lack of literacy can still use as an entrance point to the digital space in a very friendly way. So that was basically the background. Of course, there was this idea by the painter that it's like a zebra is in German is a pedestrian crossing. We call them zebras. So the idea was that it's a safe way to get from the analog space to the digital space in the sense of a safe passage, the way that you cross the street. So you might say that we have built 26 zebra stripes or pedestrian crossings in Berlin, 26 safe passages. But yeah, that's the background. I always get the questions many times. So and yeah, it turns out it works.
Thank you. Jacob.
Welcome.
Okay, so you're all invited to ask questions to Christina Martens, to Mārtiņš Lagzdons, to Jacob Svaneeng. Go. Any way you want, really. Raise your hand, write it into the chat. Actually, we have a first question for Jacob in the chat. So the question is, who's providing services for the digital zebra? Is it librarians that have duty for certain hours, or are these invited consultants? Is the first question. And if the consultant does not know what to do or how to solve the problem or request, they are trying to learn in the process.
So it's most of the digital guides are librarians who have wanted to be part of the project and who have applied for that job internally, and then have sort of been doing that in part or full time. So we have around 18 digital pilots who are full-time pilots, and then we have 40 in total, and the rest are people who do that in part-time, and they, as part of their service, they also do this kind of work. And what distinguishes us also is, of course, that it's a lot about, especially in Germany, there's a lot of fear and distrust about sometimes also the state services, but also especially digitalization. So the fact that we are sort of public employees of a library adds that additional trust. Libraries have the highest level of trust in of any public institution in Germany. So these are good access points for this topic. We have a lot of different libraries around Germany who have like people who voluntarily, do a couple of hours, and they don't get paid. But of course, people who are already employed in a library as a public institution have signed certain things, like how to deal with, like personal data and stuff like that. So there's the same thing if you make a library card for somebody, you also take the personal data, and people know that, so that gives them a little bit more of a trust. And at the same time, they don't see it as a state institution; they still see it as a sweet zebra and not like as many other comparable institutions out there. So that's it's mainly librarians, and the very important thing is that we don't present ourselves as a digital expert. I mean, I used to work as a teacher, and anybody who works as a teacher knows that if you start pretending that you know everything in front of the kids, and you don't, they will smell it right away, and you're done. You should never pretend. You should always say like, oh, let's try to figure it out together. So that's how you also become a good digital pilot. That you're brave enough to sit down there, and I always get that little feeling, and people come and ask you very simple questions most of the time, just how to create a PDF and something like that. But sometimes it's complex, and that you just have, they're brave enough to just say, I don't know either, but I never had that, but let's try to figure it out together. And what they learn in then researching it together is, how do you deal with digital problems? How do you research it? How do you ask for help? How do you contact other colleagues and so on and try to find a solution? And in 99% of all cases, we can always solve that problem. So that's really learning in progress. And of course, at a certain point, if you have done, like some of our oldest digital guides have been doing consultations, maybe like 5,000 or 6,000 consultations, of course, things start to repeat themselves, and you don't have to say, I never had that before. You just do it in your sleep. So that's
thank you.
Yeah.
There's a question from Mārtiņš. This literary soiree with music and the literary menu must have cost quite a bit, for example, to pay the musicians. Did you cover the costs from the library's regular budget, or did you use a third-party funding scheme? And if so, which one? And also, I also was wondering about this. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit how the evening, like what's on the menu?
Yes, I understand the question, but I answer Latvian, and Elina will translate this because I'm not very good in English, and Elina, you help me, yes? Šis pasākums tiek finansēts no trīs teiksim tā, resursiem. Liela daļa ir iekļauta bibliotēkas budžetā, daļu finansē kultūras darba organizatori jeb kultūras nams, un tie cilvēki, kas apmeklē šo pasākumu, maksā arī nelielu dalības maksu. Tā kā 3 finansētāji un 3 organizētāji, jo tiek piesaistīta arī nevalstiskā organizācija.
Don't know how to translate this all. I will do it a shorter version. The budget consists from 3 parts. It's part of the library budget. It's from the culture house also that's in the region, and participations pay small participation fee. And in the organization of these is also NGOs involved, so it's also budget sometimes from that. Correct?
And Juliana, your question, what was?
Yeah, what is happening during the evening? Like, what is on the menu? What is the literary part?
Pirmajā daļā mēs runājam par literatūru. Tiek uzaicināts kāds literāts vai cilvēks, kas stāsta par literatūru. Es kā bibliotekārs sagatavoju dažādus uzdevumus par literatūru un saistībā ar literatūru. Cilvēki sēž pie galdiņiem, malko vīnu un uzkodas. Pēc tam pasākuma vidusdaļā mēs prezentējam bibliotēkas sagatavot literāro ēdienkarti. Ja man jāpastāst par literāro ēdienkarti, tad tas ir principā literatūras saraksts, kuru pēc dažādiem kritērijiem izveido bibliotēka, un cilvēki var paņemt uz mājām pēc pasākuma. Arī pasākuma laikā mēs šo ēdienkarti gatavojam kopā ar cilvēkiem. Un pasākuma noslēgumā ir muzikāls sveiciens, kas dažreiz ir saistīts gan ar literatūru, latviešu dzēju un mūziku, un citreiz atkal vienkārši ir muzikāls sveiciens. Elīna, I hope you understand all.
I understand, but I'm not sure if I can translate it all. So it consists of some 3 parts. The first part is when they're talking about the literature. There is a person who are invited and they talk about it, but the librarian is creating tasks about the literature. So the second part is, and they also have wine and something to eat, snacks. That's the main part, right? So in the second, they have literal menu. It's the list of literature. And also from this list, they can choose to take some books home. Also, part of this list are made there on the spot by the participants of the event. They also can suggest literature for the list. And the third part is musical activity, yes.
Performance, jā.
Performance.
Un literatūras, lai jūs saprastu, kas tā literatūras ēdienkarte ir, iedomājieties reālu ēdienkarti, kur ēdienu vietā ir grāmatas un grāmatu nosaukumi. Tas var būt Āzijas ēdieni, angļu ēdieni, franču ēdieni, tas var būt pusdienas, vakariņas, brokastis, tas var būt uzkodas, pamatēdiens, saldais ēdiens, tādā veidā. Es saku,
And so it looks like a real menu with, for example, Asian foods or Chinese foods or like breakfast, lunch, snacks. You can choose from looks like real menu, but instead of food, there is books in it, so you can eat them.
And is this something that you came up with, Mārtiņš? The idea, was it yours? Or did you...
No, the idea I stole from our Lithuanian colleagues from Klaipēda City Library.
Okay.
It's the best thing about the libraries. You can steal the ideas and
go steal.
It's still fun.
Okay, are there more questions? I wanted to ask Christina Martens, because I was really impressed also with the numbers you mentioned for your, I think it's the Digital Tuesday, where you said it's 80 people coming to these sessions, and it's more like a lecture, right? It's not something that's super interactive, but one person speaks about a certain topic and the 80 people listen to it. Question one. And if you, for instance, speak about what happens to my data after I die, is this something that a librarian does, or is this somebody external?
Okay, I start with the first question, or the second, no, I turn it around. It is that we often work with network partners. So we try to bring people to our library that have something to say about this topic, because this is not the task of our librarians. In the worst case, we are wrong. And we want that the information that we give to the people, that this is right. So, for example, when I talked about the tax declaration, we try to get someone from the financial ministry and get people that are keen in this. And you are right, when we have the people sitting with us, in the first moment, it is not very interactive. Someone is speaking to the people, but I told you all the people have their devices with them. And so it is getting interactive, because latest after 10 minutes, the first person says, how do I install this app here? And then we have two colleagues that are going to the people and try to help them. And after this speech, so after 45 minutes, after 1 hour, there is still time that the elderly people can come to my colleagues and ask questions. And this is also like a little like a digital zebra. Of course, not so professional, but nevertheless, when they have questions, how they can finish this task that we have spoken about, of course, we help. So it's getting interactive afterwards.
Yeah, and it's quite a challenging ratio of 2 librarians versus 80 people. That's also very impressive.
It is, because there are always some special people that are want to get some special attention. That's the way it is. This is our work.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Are there other questions? Victoria.
Yes, I have also for Christina. It was really interesting to learn about Tuesdays with 3D printing. And I would like to ask about the person who is curating this event. He or she should be a very passionate librarian working with 3D printer, yes?
Indeed, that's right. But it's one of my staff. She is very keen in these technical things, and she has also special working times. So she likes to come, for example, after lunchtime and be there later in the evening. And this is what is her hobby, and we produced her hobby to one of our offers. But you are right, you must have a person who is really into this topic, because also the youngsters that are coming here are very demanding. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you very much. And how many young people are coming to these Tuesdays, like average?
We make these Tuesdays with registration because it's not possible to do these offers with 20 people or more. For these events, we have 5 to 7 places, not more. And only with this number of people, we can guarantee that everybody is happy afterwards.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, another question came in for Christina Martens. The question, what happens to my data when I die, is particularly significant in the academic world. Have you considered this as well, for instance, concerning research data? Or is the focus primarily on social media data and similar used by non-academics and private individuals?
I must be honest for this. In our library, it's just for private people, because we have a normal average citizen here that is not really into this topic of academia. Maybe this could be a topic that we can make separately. But for the topic that we have done here, it was just for private people and private data.
Thank you. Okay, we're almost at the end. We have 6 minutes left, so last call for questions. Oh, there's more from Mārtiņš. Question for German colleagues. In Latvia, most public or parish libraries are staffed by one employee, unless they are city libraries. Can we find examples of such libraries in Germany? Yes, definitely. But maybe we have a one-person librarian here with us who can show themselves or say something about it. Maybe not, but yeah, I don't have the exact data. I probably could try to find it, Mārtiņš, but there's many like of in our library association, yeah, a massive amount, like the majority of libraries are really small libraries. So not the big ones, but really like of, you know, in rural areas and small towns. Somebody threw in a link, which is in German, naturally, but you can maybe find some information there, or I can also provide it afterwards.
Thank you.
Okay, I feel once again very inspired by everything I heard today. Yeah, very impressive what librarians do these days. I think today's example gave a good insight into how the library or librarian's job changes, and you know what kind of topics, from what happens to my data after I die to love scamming to puzzling, all happens at the library. We heard that, you know, cooperations are important. I have a friend who recently finished, or, you know, quit his job, and he went to the job center last week. And then he called me after, and he was like, yeah, he went to this information event that you have to go to in the beginning. And he told me, yeah, at the end, they were like, yeah, if you have struggled with the two-factor authentication that you need to access the job center website, go to the Digital Zebra. There is this service in Berlin libraries, and they will help you with this. So this is, yeah. Also probably due to, as Jacob said, all the colleagues going to all these potential partners and speaking with them.
And can I just add, we had a lady recently came from the job center, and she was looking for a job, and it's a while ago actually, and when she got the access to the formula, and then right at the end she asked the question, how much do the books cost? And then the digital pilot realized that she doesn't know what a library is, and then we got a chance to explain to her that you can have all the books almost for free, and that her child can also get support for her homework downstairs. And you know, like actually that they send these people to us who would just sit around in a room and wait to get their money, and now they go and they discover their local library is I think is a really nice thing. It has a lot of value for the family just going somewhere else. So
yeah. Okay, I think we have a survey, don't we, Victoria, for the next topic?
Yes, we do.